Well, hello, everybody. How are you today? Welcome, everyone. My name is Kelly Wiler, and this is Girl Upcycled Studio. This is my studio here behind me that you see. Today's live is going to be a abstract floral. I'm actually painting it on many canvases. I'm working on a collection right now, and I thought I would come live and just let all of you join in the fun and watch as well. And I know many of you are going to be catching this later on down the road on a replay. So I just want you to know I am recording on YouTube. So those of you that are on YouTube, hi Leah. Those of you that are on YouTube, all you have to do is make a comment, and I try to go through my YouTube channel and check the comments on a regular basis so that I can tend to all of you over there. So, hello. Tell me, where are you coming in from, everybody? And if you are brand new here, please let me know. Let me know if you're new. Hi, Judy. How are you, my friend? Back for more florals, I see. So, I actually painted some of these live yesterday on Facebook, and I thought I would jump over on YouTube so all of my YouTube fans can kind of see what I'm working on. So, this is actually, yes. So this is actually the two that I finished. Let me see if I can just show you guys this way. I'm trying to get better at this camera situation. So this was the one that I did last night on Facebook. Loving all of the colors. The colors are a little bit softer, muted. They are, Leah's in Texas. Hello, Texas. How's your weather? Um, the colors are more like peachy, corals, a little bit of creamy whites. So I think I'm going to do a little bit of a spin on the colors on the on my next two. So I'm doing a collection. These are 8x8 gallery wrapped canvases. So, and you can see I'm just painting right around the sides of these. So just to kind of, since they're smaller, it's a little bit easier to keep my attention. And then this is the first one that I did. And so you can tell they are matching, and they're a bit of a collection. So I'm going to go ahead and get started on another one with all of you. Hi, Donna. Where are you coming in from? Leah, she's in Texas and she says it's warm there. Awesome. Hi, Alicia. She is from Eastern Washington State. Oh my goodness. Never been to Washington State. I can only imagine how beautiful it is. So my idea here for this collection, I even though it's a collection, Donna is in Chile, Michigan. Even though I'm working on a collection here, I do want them to match. However, I want them to be slightly different. So I think what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take some of the accent colors. So if you see these bright reds, so I think my flowers on this one that I'm doing with you tonight is going to be a little bit bolder in color. So maybe more like a fuchsia pink and red, maybe, rather than the soft pinks. But they'll all still match. It'll all mesh together, and I'm going to show you guys how I'm going to do that. So give me a second, and let me just see if I can change the screen, if I remember how to do that. There we go. That way you get a bigger view of all of the colors. And if there's anything that you're having trouble seeing during the live feed, just let me know, and I am happy to change the angle of the camera or even move my canvas so that you can see a little bit better of what I'm doing, okay? I have all of my water set up here. The brushes that I'm using today, I'm going to use the Iris Pro Series number 8 round. This is one of my favorites. I'm also going to use another favorite that's called the Assistant, and this is a nice flat brush. So you can get a lot of nice lines when you use the flat edge brushes. And so even though I'm going in and I'm doing a flower that has some curves and roundness, I like to use that flat edge to get some of that movement in there. And I can almost use this flat brush as if it's a bit of a knife, because I can scoop into that paint and just scoop it down and lay it in there pretty well. And then if need be, I also actually only need one of these. I'll use my newer one. I have this little tiny knife that I just got. I think this is the Master's Touch. It's a small, there's no number on this, so I can't really help you with the number, but it's just a really nice small knife. It's great for just tiny details and movements. So that's really, I think, all I'm going to use today. So let's go ahead. I want to get started with my base coat, and I do like to get my underpainting done. Don't forget. What am I going to forget, Judy? Help me. Am I forgetting something? Because I'm known for that. So I'm going to use Boho Blue, which is from the DIY paint line. Let me see if I have anything with that label on it, because, well, the labels are just beautiful. What am I forgetting, Judy? This is awesome. Kelly says, Bobby, I love you. How are you today? Here's one of the labels. Let me show you. So this is DIY paint, all natural clay-based paint. Absolutely love incorporating the DIY paint into my artwork. It makes a wonderful background color. I like to lay in those underpaintings using my DIY paint, okay? And this is what the label looks like. I do sell this, but I also incorporate it with many other paints as well. So I use all kinds of stuff. I don't just use that. I use all types of paints. So this is the Boho Blue, which is a beautiful dark teal. Absolutely beautiful. And I also want to work in, let's do some Old 57. This is actually my favorite color in the DIY paint line. I sell a ton of this because my ladies in my group kind of chuckle at me because I always say a painting is not finished until it has a little touch of Old 57 in it, and that's just kind of how I roll. All right. Okay. I have to be careful as I paint to not drip. Okay, so I think what I want to do right now is I want to just lightly sketch in how I want my flowers to be, how I want them to lay in. And so I'm going to just kind of lightly sketch in with my Old 57. Thumbs up for all the viewers. Hey, thank you. Thank you all for being here. And please, if you wouldn't mind sharing this out, if you're able to, that would be awesome. Reminder for them to give you likes. Yes, give me some likes, y'all. That helps all of us so much, even on, especially here on YouTube. They like a lot of comments on here, and it helps push the little people. So with my little channel, it'll help kind of push it a little bit and makes it be seen a little bit better. So okay, so I want to, let's see, I'm going to look at how I did these, and I think what I'll do, I'm going to put since I have so if you look at this one, I have the vase over on this side. This one, I have the vase in the middle. So this one, I'm going to put my vase kind of over on this opposite side. Okay? So that's how we're going to roll with this one. So I'm going to just lightly sketch out. I'll try to angle this so you can see it. Just kind of sketch this out, and I'm going to pull this down here. So that's just a light reminder here of where my vase will be. And this one, I think I want to do let's do a flower. down here. This is going to be my star. My star of the whole painting here will be this one. So I'm going to do this one bigger, and we'll do like, let's do like a little one here. And notice I'm leaving areas here to add some foliage in the middle, right? So when you're setting up a painting, hello, Miss Pam Dudley in house and Cindy Lawyer. Hello, both of you. Thank you. So I'm going to put this one over here, and it's going to, I call it going off the page, but it's actually off the canvas. I'm going to put it over here. And then I think I'll do let's just do another one like about right here. And maybe I'll have a little bit of this one up off the page as well. Okay, so that is basically all I'm starting with right here. Kath Keat, you are in Australia, aren't you? So she says, hey, Kelly, morning, my friend, just before 10 a.m. Friday here now. Thank you so much. I love it when my Australian friends come in and they're sipping on their coffee in the morning. I think that's just so cool how we can communicate with people all over the world through this amazing thing called the internet. You know, I know a lot of people have negative things that they say about it, but man, there's so much good, so much connection that we can have, right? All right, so that's my start. And so this is just a reminder of what I'm doing. So I'm going to leave these round spaces kind of clear. Hello, Mary Jo Walker. How are you? Where are you coming in from, Mary Jo? And with that being said, I'm going to just dip in. Did not clean my brush or anything. I'm going to just dip in. And the first thing I want to do is add a little bit of dark tone in this middle. And that's going to give the illusion of some shadows. So that's what I'm doing there. Again, this is Boho Blue. And I'm just going to apply this kind of quickly. You can water this paint, by the way. You can water this down like a 10-to-1 ratio, and it's still going to hold a really nice pigmentation, you guys. So keep that in mind. Those of you that want to make your DIY paint go a little bit further, you can totally make that happen by adding water. So that's kind of cool, right? I'm going to add a little bit of a dark line here. So make sure I don't lose the line of my vase. And let's add this. I have another light I should have on. I know it looks a little tiny dark over here on this side. Alicia, she said it's pretty here. Nature is not too far for an escape. Aw, thank you. Kathy, Kath Keat says, very blessed. It's awesome. All right. So I am just going back and forth with these two colors. And this is what I call an underpainting, okay? And I would encourage some of you that have never tried doing an underpainting, give it a try. See how it works for you. I find that it just gives it so much depth, and I just like all the little colors that pop through. So give it a try. Sometimes I use really, really bright colors on my underpainting too. So this time I'm just, so what I'm doing is I'm working on a collection for an art show. And the art show is actually being held on a lake. And so all of the residents will be there. And so I'm trying to think of lakeside colors, which to me, when I think of a lake, I automatically go towards blues, teals, greens, all those coastal kind of colors, right? So that is my thought process as I'm building this collection. So I urge all of you that are working on art, I know a lot of you are working artists. How many of you are artists that are watching? I would love for you to put that in the comments below, that you're an artist. And absolutely, if you have a YouTube channel, and you're over here on YouTube watching, put the name of your YouTube channel in the comments so we can all go look. I love to sprinkle the love and check out other artists too while they're here. So, okay. The DIY paint dries really quickly too, so that's just another great reason that I like to use it on my underpainting, because that way I can just get down to business and start layering those paints, knowing that that clay paint is drying. Okay. Let's see. Donna has a question. She says, because you're using clay paint in your pictures, do you seal your pieces with a spray, and which one? I mean, I could, but no, I don't, because as I build my paintings, I'm coming forward on those top layers using acrylic paints. And then I even sometimes use oil paint on that top layer too. So that is just putting that a nice seal on the underpainting as well. Then I go over top of it at the end and I do like a nice top coat. You can do a varnish. You could do, sometimes I even use the big top sealer, which is what I use for my furniture sealer, because it's a really nice non-yellowing hard coat. And I know that it's going to have a real high durability. So I hope that that helps. And I love all the questions that are coming in. They're really great questions that y'all have for me today. Pam says, don't have a YouTube channel, but all the other platforms. Well, by all means, Pam, put the name of your business down here, even if you're on Facebook, and we'll go check you out. Judy says, I saw Christy is going to be at the show. Yes, she's talking about my sister. My sister is going to be at the art show with me. Not with me, but along beside me. So we're gonna get into some shenanigans. So, and then our friend Jess Spires, who is the artist upstairs above me, she is the one that is pulling this all together. So yeah, you know, we're gonna get into some good awesome fun, right? All right. That being said, let's get started on the colors here. Actually, before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and lay in, let me just lay in some color for, I'm going to go ahead and put this in as the, let's use up the rest of that old 57 for my vase. Let's put that in. That'll be my vase color. Done. And we're going to go ahead and get started now on the florals. And like I said, I think I want to switch it up a little bit. I have scarlet. Let's do, got some red acrylic here as well. Let me put this on my palette. Pam says she has a new Etsy shop. What's the name of it, Pam? Love Etsy. You guys, when I started out, I actually started out on Etsy years ago, and it's a wonderful platform. I do still have my Etsy shop, but it's not very active right now, but I do still have it. And it's a wonderful platform, especially for beginners. I do think that it's a great way to get started. Okay. Hey, Amy, Mama Bear Blue in the house. How are you, my friend? All right. So I'm going to use that same brush, which is that flat one. So I'm just going to use this flat. It's called the Assistant. And I'm going to use the dark. Can you see my paints? Let's see if I can push this backwards a little bit. No, if you can, there we go. I'm going to use the darker one first. Let me angle that so you can see. And let's just see what happens. I'm just going to start layering this in. So this is going to be a little bit bolder than my other ones, but I think it's still going to match. And if you notice, I'm putting this in pretty darn thick to where you can kind of see the chunkiness of it as I twist my little canvas around. You can see how chunky those marks are. I love it when you all talk to each other on here. I think that's awesome. Pam says it's a slow process, but I hope to do better. So let me give you a little tip. Those of you that are on Etsy, okay, you need to treat it like it's a business, okay? If you treat it like it's a hobby, then it's only going to be a hobby. So people sometimes think that when they have an Etsy store that they can just post it and then Etsy's going to do everything else for them. And that's just simply not true. Okay, so I want you to treat it like it's a storefront. Okay, pretend it is a storefront or a studio like I have, and you're coming in and you're working it. Okay, you need to work it. Hello, Fadwa from Morocco. How are you? Thank you for the sprinkles, Kath. You need to treat it, just like you would a regular store. And that means you got to put time into it. Okay. Put time into it. And that's how you're going to get the sales. Okay. So you have to direct people how to get there, because they will not know. And the one thing that they do over there on Etsy is they're not just advertising for you. Etsy is advertising for Etsy. So what that means is, how can I put this? So there's my start of this. Hi, Kathy Moody. Etsy is there for Etsy. Etsy is there to make money. And if you start showing that you're making money, you'll kind of come higher on the algorithm there inside Etsy, and you'll get pushed up a little bit further. So that's really where you want to be, and that's what you want to do when you're on Etsy. Okay, you're going to have to work it like it's a business. Now, the negative thing about Etsy and why I don't have a huge amount on there, well, I've been in business for quite a few years now. So hi Q, how are you? So since I've been on there for quite a few years, or I've had my business for quite a few years, I want to drive business to my website. So what Etsy does is when you're on Etsy, people are there shopping, and they will put up other suggestions. So if somebody's on your Etsy shop and they'll say, hey, you might like to see this item that's similar to what you're looking at. And then what that does is that puts them over on another person's Etsy shop. So you really want them on your shop. You want them shopping on your website as much as possible, right? So that's why you have to really work it just like a storefront. Okay. I hope that helps you a little bit. Is adding promos good to do? I haven't added promos, so I don't have a lot of knowledge to help you. I would say just, why don't you just go to your algorithm and figure out what's getting, the best views. Okay, guys, so I am jumping over. Let me just show you what I'm doing now. I'm jumping over and I'm using Scarlet Red now. And can you see how that scarlet is popping against that darker um, red that I'm using? So I'm just putting in some yummy, yummy thick globs of paint in here. Anyway, back what I was saying, if I can remember. I'm not sure about the promos. I would go to your algorithm, see what's getting the most views, and do a little trial. Do a trial and maybe see how it goes, and maybe do a second one, maybe do a total of 3 sponsored posts within 3 weeks time. See what does the best. See how it runs. Okay. Hopefully that was helpful. And it's like that with any platform that you're on. Let's say you're on even Facebook and you're doing some promos. Sometimes you got to run a few different things to see what kind of works the best. Okay. So one thing that I've been working on this past year, and I know you guys heard me say this yesterday too, is I'm trying to leave in my lines. I'm leaving in my brush strokes, and I'm trying not to do too much over blending. Okay. So I'm trying to get that yummy, yummy, thick look of oils. And with the products that we have nowadays, we have some wonderful products out there. Okay. Of course, I love my clay paint because it's thick and yummy. But the acrylics that we use nowadays, look at the thickness I'm getting out of that. Look at that texture, movement. So I'm trying to train myself to leave those brush strokes in there. I'm trying to teach myself, it makes me think of old school, the masters. When you think of the masters and when they painted, you could see those luscious, luscious brush strokes in there. And so that's really what I'm trying to go for. So I'm pretty happy with those 2 colors. So I think, let's see what I want to do here. I think I want to do, let's grab this fluorescent orange yellow. Maybe, let's see. Yeah. I'm going to grab a little touch of this. Remember, I used touches of this fluorescent orange in my other 2. So I still want to pull some of the colors together so that it all meshes and it all creates this beautiful collection, right? So that is what I'm keeping in mind. These little paintings have been so much fun to paint. Getting a lot of joy out of it. And it's kind of like I'm not like highly, highly invested in a ton of time either, which is kind of cool. Look at that. Look at that glob. That yumminess. Just love it. And notice I'm laying the paint on there as if I'm using a knife almost, right? So good, right? Now that's going to take quite a while for that to dry. Looks very therapeutic. Thank you, Renee. Every color has a presence. It does, right? It really does. Like I said yesterday, if you weren't there, you can watch the replay on Facebook. Red comes forward. And so it's kind of a fun little thing to play around with. And as the red kind of pops right out at you. Now, by all means, you could certainly be doing this with a knife, but I just haven't gotten there yet with my knife. Okay. So I think while I'm at it, I'm going to add some, just some little touches of bright down in that vase area. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to clean some of that off, but I'm not cleaning it completely off. Love, yes, our fingers too. Absolutely. Hello, Dominique. Where y'all coming in from? I see some new names popping up. So what I'm going to do now, still have some red on this brush. Did not clean it completely off, so still on there. So I'm going to dip into my boho blue, which is still sitting right here. And let's dip into a little bit of that red. Maybe let's do this little bright red. And I'm just going to mix in and make this deeper color. Actually, I think I want it thicker. So let's do that again, only thicker. And it's really, really awesome when you can get used to mixing your own colors, you guys. And I say that to those of you that are also furniture painters. If you can get used to mixing your own colors, I don't even care what brand. So like even the DIY paint, they're beautiful as is, but if you can get used to mixing your colors, you will come up with some custom looks, okay? So I'm going to go right in through the middle here and just lay in some color, a dark color, ever so slightly. And let's add a little, kind of mixing it on the spot here. And there's nothing wrong with that either, too. You can mix your paints on the canvas if you want to as well. I know for beginners that sometimes can be a little bit intimidating, but absolutely nothing wrong with that. So this is how it's looking so far. Okay, really, really thick. I'm going to pull it up here so you can see the chunky yumminess, right? Get these layers. There's a good picture right there. All right. I'm going to clean my brush off, and I want to clean it off really good this time because I'm going to make, hi Carrie, Feats or Fates? Thank you. She says, hello, I love your flowers. Thank you so much. Flowers are one of my favorite things to paint. And what I love about it is there's so many styles of painting. So you could do abstract, you can do realist, you can do, oh my gosh, impasto. This is a little impasto. And impasto just means you're getting that texture and that thickness in there. Okay. I want to do, definitely going to do some bright, I'm going to pull in some bright green. And I think what I'm going to do, this is actually Nova color that I'm using right here. Just a lot of fun. So I'm going to put, I need to order some more of this. I'll put a glob of this out here. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix it in with some of the boho blue. And that way I can kind of make a nice custom green, right? Sometimes greens are just kind of it's a little hard to get like a green the way you want it all the time, right? So I'm going to start off with this, scooping in some of that boho blue. Hello, Miss Carrie. Loving this series, says Carrie Fox. How are you, my friend? All right. So with that being said, let's start up here and let's drop in some green. And I'm kind of just being careful not to mix into my red too much, because that could be a hot mess. So if you are just starting out, my advice to you is just don't mix your warm and cool colors together, and that's going to give you a sure thing that you're not going to get muddy. Okay, and when I say muddy, do y'all know what I mean by that? It means your pigmentation, it gets dull. So it doesn't actually even mean that it turns completely brown, but it just means that you're losing that vibrancy, is what that means when they say, oh, it got muddy on me. Sometimes it does get muddy on you, and that's not the end of the world. You let it dry, and then you layer over top of it and pull that pigmentation back up, is what you do. Rainy Day Vintage, that's Renee. She says, greens are my favorite. I love greens too, but I like to mix my own. Okay, I've got a question coming in from Carrie, and by all means, I'm loving the questions. Keep them coming. She is, look, I just put my elbow in bright green. She says, when painting on canvases, do you use fine art paint or your chalk paint? Well, I have some of my, it's actually clay-based paint, so it's not like the typical chalk paint. I don't know if I would use the regular chalk paint, but the clay-based paint, this is paint that is almost, it's old school. It's very much like an Adobe paint, what they would have used on houses, and it's very, very durable, and it will last years and years and years. It dries just, I mean, it just adheres, and it's just a wonderful paint to work with. Hi, Marcia. She says, I like your florals. Thank you. Rainy Day says she uses all of it. I do too, girl. So I will use that clay-based paint. And be careful too. I mean, I'm really choosy about, I use the DIY paint because it's the percentage of clay. It's the first ingredient is clay. So it's mostly clay. Some of the paints are not like that. So you do want to kind of watch the brands that you're using and make sure that, because you do want to have that archival quality to your paint, and you want it to last for many years. Hi Deborah. Yep, painting flowers. It's kind of what I do. Okay, I'm going to come over here and let's do another leaf there, and let's do maybe another one here. I'm pulling in a little of the yellow green. The yellow green is Nova. I use all different brands, you guys. I use Nova paints. I have Golden. I have some Master's Touch. To me, the Master's Touch is fine as well. It's just easy access because they sell it at the local, Hobby Lobby or Michael's or wherever. So that's simply why I sometimes just grab that, because it's just the accessibility of it sometimes, right? Going in, still pretty. Now I'm trying to be careful not to over blend the greens. So let's see. Let's do here. that one's like back behind a little bit. I don't know. I'm trying to be really careful not to. Now you may want to get a smaller brush if it's easier for you. I'm kind of used to working with really, really large brushes. So that's kind of just a preference. Okay, so there's how it's looking so far. Then let's go ahead and let's layer on some more of this just to get that yummy painterly look. One second, I just got quiet. I'm getting into the zone, huh? Look how that pops against the dark green. Loving that. So, let's see. Thinking about my next move. Do I need to clean my brush or no? Okay. I feel like I'm pretty good with that. Okay. Pam says I use all the different paints too. Hello, Shannon Booth. How are you? Carrie Feet, she says, red. I love the reds. They're my favorite. Yeah, so this could almost pass for like poppies. So we'll see. I don't know how we'll, like I'm going to do two that are kind of this style and two that are that style, but I'm still trying to pull in some of the same colors. So I feel like what I need to do next is pull in some of the softer colors from the other paintings so that they kind of can mesh. You never know who's going to buy your paintings too, so you got to think about that. I mean, if somebody wants to buy the set of 4, then they'll have like a nice cohesive look for their wall, and I think these would be really pretty, all 4 of them together, displayed somehow. So these little guys are cute too because they sit on mantles and windowsills, and they're just nice. These are 8x8s, by the way. I don't know if I told you guys that. Okay, let me think. Stop and think what I used yesterday. So this is just Master's Touch Pink. It's a real soft. It almost has a peachy coral kind of a look to it. So let's put that there. And I had white. Gosh, I haven't even used white yet, guys. That's why that's so bold looking, to get my white. Let's do that over here. I'm going to use quite a bit of that. And then yellow ochre. Put that over here where this green was. I try to place my colors that are similar to each other. So like my warms beside each other and my cools beside each other. Normally, that's how I start off. Sometimes as I start adding paints, it gets maybe a little messier. Hi, Janet. You are here during the live. So I think you thought you were here during the replay, but I so appreciate you saying hello. All right. Okay. This is pretty wet. So here's what I'm going to do. Hopefully this isn't a big mistake, but here's what I'm going to do. This is going to be pretty, maybe I better not. I got to change my mind here. I'm afraid I was going to go ahead and do the background, but I'm afraid it'll be too wet. All right, so let's go ahead and try to put in some berries and some colors using this soft peachy kind of color. And let's see what happens. Trying to do this without mixing up too many of the colors. Hi, Derek. Tanya, how are you? Oh my goodness, I was just thinking of you. Get out of my head. I was looking at that beautiful piece of pottery that you brought me when you were here. I just love that. It's actually, I think it's actually supposed to be used for, to clean your brushes, but it's so pretty. I just have my brushes being held in, and I should use it the way it's supposed to be because it has a nice, the bottom of it has like a texture to it. But yeah, I was just thinking of you. Isn't that funny? Hope you're doing well. So there's some of that lighter color. And thank you for that. Let's see. Hello, Tammy Reed. How are you? Let's do. I want to keep it pretty loosey-goosey here. All right. So that's already giving it a little something. A little something, something. All right. So let's see what happens if we add a little bit of this yellow ochre in with this as well. Let's see if that kind of gives it a little extra touch as well. And notice holding my brush clear back at the end, that just keeps me nice and loose on my movements, keeps me from getting too tight. All right, so I'm going to take this yellow and I'm going to add a little bit of color down here into this. And let's see. Let's add a little touch of that yellow ochre. Just a little touch. That is the one thing that I think is so cool about painting is we can create our own. Make up our own flowers and our own colors and just have fun with it, right? So that's how it's looking so far. Oh, Tammy, good. I'm glad you're feeling better. My goodness, girlfriend. Barbara says it looks a little bit like baby's breath. Yeah, and it could be. Totally could be. Tanya, she said, and that's from Delilah Design. She says, I store brushes in mine too. Hello, Miss Amy Summit. How are you? Tammy says, those flowers remind me of the ones you did on the painting you gave me. Oh, that's awesome. Yep, they probably do look similar. Okay, pretty happy with where this is going for right now. Okay, so I feel like the next thing I want to do is I want to take my knife and I'm going to scoop up this really yummy thick, this is titanium white, by the way. And I want to just start. This is why I like this little tiny knife. I can really get into these corners and crevices. And I'm scooping this up pretty thick. You can see how thick I have it. Now, if your paint is not quite as thick as you want it, you can add texture medium to it, guys. Okay, so you can do like a gel medium or texture medium, anything like that. And that just, oh, I'm sorry, you guys can't see what I'm doing. Can you? Let me see if I can turn this. All these different angles you gotta paint when you're live. So there we go. I have been teaching, well, in my group, I teach this all the time, but I have done some local workshops where I'm teaching people how to do the knife painting, and they are loving it. I know they're a little bit afraid, and then once they get it done, they're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I just did that. It's so cool. Yeah. So now you're kind of seeing why all those colors that I layered in on the bottom, why I did all of that. Hey, Marie. Marie says, just got on. Wow, wow. Kelly girl, beautiful. Oh, you're so sweet. That just made me smile because my Grammy used to call me Kelly girl. I can still hear her voice in my mind calling my name. That just made me smile. Reminded me of her. Okay, so let's work my way over here, and I think maybe if I lay it down and just tilt it, you can see. Take my edge and let that do its work. One thing that I keep telling everybody, let your brushes and your tools do the work that they're supposed to do, okay? These knives have flat edges and the shape of them for a reason. So learn how to use your tools. It just makes it all worthwhile, okay? Yes, certain tools allow you to do certain things. I mean, I'm a big believer in use what you have. However, once you learn how to, once you get past that beginner stage, get some decent brushes and knives and things, okay? It does make a difference in your work, believe it or not. And I'm not saying that just to say that, because I don't sell all of this stuff. I'm just truly telling you. Shannon Booth, she says, I need to learn about different brushes and how to use them. Shannon Booth, you should come into my Creators Club. I'm going to open the doors this month. We would love to have you in there. It's a great place to learn all the things, because I do teach all of this. A little more in depth probably than what I'm doing with all of you right now, but at least you're getting a taste of it, right? Okay, so I'm gonna watch this area. Okay, so this is how it's looking. So you see the difference? This side I haven't finished, and this side I have the white. So do you see how now that I've added the white, it's helping me get more of a cohesive collection down, okay? Whereas before I did that, it looked like a whole different series of paintings. Pam says, I love this. Shannon says, could you talk about the club a little and what it entails? Oh my goodness, girlfriend. I teach so many classes. And those of you that are in my Creators Club, would you please type in the comment section that you're in the club, and that way she can always ask you questions as well. But I teach once a week. I teach every Tuesday at 6 p.m. live inside the group, and then the replay is there for you to take whenever you want it. I have about 4 years worth of classes in the vaults. It's been close to 4 years that I've had that group. And I teach I teach intuitive art every single week. That's the first thing that I teach, because I'm a stickler about the intuitive art. And sometimes it can be difficult to get the hang of it, but what I want to do in that group is I want to push you, and I want to teach you your own fingerprint. Everybody has their own unique fingerprint, and that goes with painting. You have your own style. If you're new, you don't know it yet. And so my thing about that club is getting to push you gently and with love, but teaching you that's your fingerprint. A lot of times people see something that they hate that they do. I have one gal in there, and she's like, "Tack on it, every time I do flowers, they look like circles." Okay, so that's your fingerprint, and I want you to push harder into it. Don't pull away from that. I want you to push into that circle. Make it your own. Own that circle that is your flower. Own it, And so those are the kind of things that I teach in the intuitive. Gosh, I don't know if you can see behind me. Let me see if I can switch this. So if you see behind me, this was an intuitive class that I taught this Tuesday, and it was called Intuitive with Intention. So that means that we go in with layers on the underpainting. However, I knew that I was going to have some kind of a boat, so I went into it knowing that that's kind of what it was going to be. However, all of the layers on the underpainting, totally did not know what I was going to do until I started doing it. I teach watercolor, I teach acrylics, I teach impasto, I teach a lot of knife painting, lots of florals. We've been doing a lot of animals lately, haven't we, ladies? It's a little furry guys. Look how cute it's looking, guys. Let me see if I can give you like a nice close up. Look at that. Isn't that yummy? So good. And then I need to do a little more down there on the little vase, but it's really, really, really loving how this is looking. So now I have to be a little bit careful because I've got all that paint on the side. Oh, that's so nice. I see. Yep. Mary says, let's see if I can, everybody. So listen, so the ladies in the feed that are saying that they are in the group, I'm sure you could reach out and talk to them as well, because I think that's always good to hear from the members rather than from me, because of course I think it's great, but it's the members that make it so great, and I think it's always good to hear straight from them. Let's see. Amy says, don't buy the cheap brushes either. The bristles come out on your paintings, and it's just not worth cinching on cheap ones. Get the goods. Exactly, Amy. So what she's saying, so when you get a new brush and you start painting, if they're cheap brushes, you got to pull them out of your painting. So it's a little bit frustrating sometimes. Let's see. Marie's in the club. Mama Bear. is in there. Mama Bear, she says, I'm in it and I've learned so much from the Creators Club. Highly recommend. Thank you. Mary Tammy says, I'm in the Wonderful Club. Yeah, she's a OG. She's been in there almost 4 years. Shannon, she says, I love the idea of intuitive art. I would love to learn more. Oh my gosh, it's the most amazing thing. The intuitive art process, I think, is what has pushed me further in my art. Just the education that I'm trying to learn as I grow, and it's been like a huge learning tool for me. Tanya Delilah Design said, there's so many great classes in the group and I learned so much. Yeah, she was in there for quite a while too. Judy's in there. She loves it. Y'all are awesome. Sounds amazing. Yep, I'll be opening up this month, so I'm working on that. Shannon Booth, do you teach any oils? I just bought new all natural oils, and I have taught some as far as using on the top layer. So what that means is I would do a painting like this, and then I would go in on the very top layer and add oils. I have not done a start to finish oils in the Creators Club because most of the members said they don't really want to put the money in the oil paints. So what I'm going to do, Miss Mary Jo, is, I think that's who asked me. No, Shannon Booth. So what I'm going to do when my oil kits come in, I'm going to come here on YouTube, and I'm going to be teaching how to mix your oils and how to do it. So, all right, will this be on replay? Yes, this will be on replay. You can find it over on YouTube. Judy says, not to mention everyone is so supportive. It's a sisterhood. It really is. I mean, like, we've even like prayed for people on there that were going through struggles, and we just love on each other. It's just nice. Rainy Day Vintage Renee says, I bought oils but never used them. My sister and daughter does oils. That's awesome. I'm glad you're going to jump in. Well, we can paint together, Renee. Rainy Day Renee. But she's actually very cheerful. She's not very rainy. She's actually cheerful. All right. So let's see. What else do I think this needs? I feel like it needs a little down here. So I think I might switch over to my brush. The brush is just a little bit more controllable. Just a little bit. So I'm going to add some boho blue here, and just kind of add some strokes. I could do it with a brush. I think my other ones I even used a brush, but that needed a little more. Yeah, that's much better. Hello, Lois. Lois is in the group. She says, I enjoy the kindness of the group. It is a very, very kind, safe, supportive place to be. That is for sure. So any of you, those of you that are asking about it, if you go to girlupcycledstudio.com, you can get like a little free lesson and sign up for that, and that'll get you on my email list too. When the doors open, you'll get a notification email that the doors are open, and then you have time to figure out if you can do it or not. Okay, that's what I would recommend. I'm going to darken this up just a little bit. Now, I think what I'd like to do, you won't regret, There's Marlene. Hi, lady, just checking in. These are so pretty. Thank you, Marlene. You're welcome, Shannon. Yeah, you can reach out to any of the Creators Club members, and I'm sure they would answer anything. Rainy Day, she says, I plan to try watercolors. I've never done that either. Oh my goodness. I love watercolors. Love, 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 love them. And Renee, the DIY paint, you can dilute it, and it's basically the same as watercolors if you dilute it down enough because it's so pigmented, but it'll ooze and move much like a watercolor. So, okay. I think what I want to do, grab this. This is called Bright Aqua Green. So now all I'm doing is some little touches, little tiny touches of color and little strokes and things like that. So I'm going to pull it using my knife. And let's see. I'm going to, here's the thing. Just pull a little. Put a little dab of blue, that aqua, into the flower, which might seem strange, but I'm telling you, it looks beautiful that way. Okay, I like to use this for little tiny touches of highlights here and there throughout my painting. This gives it a little something. Not too much. A little dab will do ya, as my dad says. A little dab will do ya. And this is, thank you, Alicia. I'm thinking this is pretty close to being done, I'm going to say. Anything else I would need to do to this, I would completely wait until it completely dries. I will sign it, and then it'll get sealed. But I'm going to call this my finished piece. So, and I'm going to do another one. I won't do it with all of you right now because you guys are probably tired of hearing me talk. But so I'm going to set these together so that you can kind of see how this is going to look as a collection. Isn't that pretty? I think it's going to be a beautiful collection. Renee says my dad said that too. I remember when that was referring to their hair gel. That's so funny. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to bump. Okay, gang. All right, so that is it for today's live. Thank you so much, each and every one of you, for hanging out with me. If you were here for the entire video, I would love for you to comment below and say, I made it through the entire thing. And kudos to you if you did. I really appreciate it. And if you would be able to comment, share it out, like it, all the things, that helps me grow as a small creator and helps me be motivated to bring more classes to you live. So thank you guys so much. I hope to see you inside the Creators Club when that opens up this month. So hopefully we'll see you then. All right. Thanks, everybody. Bye.